Hey everyone, welcome back. So today's Monday, and holy cow, did Bitcoin jump today along with some of the miners. The miners, some of them were up 20, almost 30% on the day. There is one that was actually down today, so we'll take a look at that. But things I wanted to cover today were Grayscale Trust might file a lawsuit against the SEC if it doesn't approve a spot Bitcoin ETF. And we also have Luxxfolio, which I finished up doing a deep dive on them, so we'll get into the numbers for them, take a look at them as well. And then we also had Bitfarms and Digihost report their quarterly earnings, and I believe one of them was at year-end results. So we'll take a look at that in another video. I'm not going to do it now because otherwise it'd be like almost a 45 one-hour long video. So today we'll cover Luxxfolio, Grayscale Trust, and we'll look at the charts for Bitcoin ETF, or Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the miners. And we'll call it a day. All right. So as always, not financial advice, you know the drill. I'm invested in the following companies and coins for full disclosure. So let's get into it here on the first one here, which is Annie. So Annie was up at one point, I think almost like 40 some percent. It was up today, finished out today at 29.59% to $2.54. It was up as high as $2.72 on the day, which is a huge increase. For whatever reason, we had a huge spike here happen right around 2:30 or so, right before the close. And I mean, it just jumped huge, even though the volume wasn't that bad, but there was just a lot of increase in price. We went all the way from 208 to approximately, what is that, 264, so 60 some cents, which was a huge increase for them. Obviously, now they're down a little bit in the after hours. They're down 5.51% to $2.40. Still a great day for them. Argo was up 4.99% on the day. It was up a little bit higher interim. It was up to about $1.05 on the day, so that's also good. Bitfarms was up 13.14%. Bitfarms obviously reported this morning, and we saw a huge spike, obviously, in pre-hours trading here, where it was up to 469 in pre-hours, came back down a little bit, and then pretty much traded sideways for the remainder of the day, but it was still up nicely. It's down a little bit now in the after hours, down 2.61% to $4.11. Cleanspark was up 5.84% on the day. It's down a little bit right now, 3.13 to $13, but it finished out the day at $13.42. We'll see how that plays out. It was obviously testing the 20-day moving average here on the chart. You can see it here. It was bouncing off of it here as it came down, even in the 50-day chart, or on the 50-day moving average, it was bouncing off of that as well. Cores was up 3.26% to $8.88. It is now down 0.34% to $8.85. It did obviously start out much higher in the pre-hours, and then it's kind of fallen back down and kind of rebounded a little bit towards the end of the day. Digihost was up 10.95% on the day to $3.85. They obviously provided their numbers, so we'll take a look at those in the next video. But they obviously started pretty hot in the morning as well. Obviously, Bitcoin went up over the weekend, so that helped everybody here. But they were up as high as $3.91 on the day. DMG was up 26.93% on the day to 61 cents. It was as high as 62 cents for the high on the day. And that one just continued in the morning, just going up and up and up until it reached the closing. Hive was up 8.49% to $2.30. It obviously started out, pre-hours are pretty hot. It went up to $2.34 and then came down a little bit up and then traded sideways here a little bit towards the end of the day. Hot 8 was about the same thing, 5.76% up on the day to $6.24. Started up higher, went up as high as $6.70, came down, people probably taking profits. And then Iris Energy was down, so they're the only ones that were down on the day. They did start up higher in pre-hours, but then they went up as high as 15.26, and then people were possibly taking profits on them, it looks like, and then they barely, inched back up higher towards the end of the day, and then finished out at 13.86. They're down a little bit in the after hours right now to 13.75. Luxxfolio, we'll get into the deep dive on them here towards the end of the video. But they were up 6.62% to 30 cents, almost 31 cents. They were as high as 2 cents, and not much to say there. Marathon was up 8.24% to 31.27. Started up higher in the pre-hours, went as high as 32.74, and then obviously traded sideways here, even into the after hours. In the after hours, it's down a little bit, 1.5% to $30.80. Then we got Mawson. Mawson was up 4.95% on the day to $5.30. It looks like it started up a little bit in the pre-hours, went as high as 541, came down, and then traded slightly up towards the end of the day. Riot was up 10.12% to $22.86. It was as high as $23.66 on the day, and same thing, started automatically trading higher in the morning, peaked a little bit here, came back down, and then went back up a little bit towards the end of the day here. So great day by the miners. Obviously had a tremendous growth today, especially some of them were up 20, almost 30% on the day. And then we saw obviously some profit taking. So let's take a look at, we'll take a look at Grayscale here in a little bit, but first let's get into Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin obviously started out yesterday, pumping quite nicely. The 27th at around, what was that, 3 o'clock or so, 1500. So that'd be, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It pumped up higher, and then it just kept on going until 7 o'clock or so when it breached our resistance here at 47,000 roughly. It came back down, tested it a couple more times, went below it, tested it a couple more times, went finally above it, and we ended up today at approximately 48,000 or so on the day. And then we've come back down ever since then, since 2 o'clock this afternoon, we started coming back down. But here's the interesting part. We're obviously seeing that now that 47,000 mark is working for us as support compared to where it was resistance back here. It is now support for us. So we're bouncing off of that line here. You can see it pretty well. So this is obviously good news here. We'll see how Bitcoin does right now. It is up a little bit in the new day hours, basically. It's up 0.58% to 47,418. The good thing on the chart is also the RSI has come way down. You can see it here. We started out around 46,140 or so, and we've continued to go up while the RSI has continued to go down, which is great. Gives us plenty of more room to run back up. We can possibly go up in the coming days if things hold. Let me see if we can zoom this out a little bit and maybe squish this a little bit. There we go. Our next resistance is right around 49,800 or so, 50,000 mark. We'll see if we can squeeze enough juice to get back up to this and test the 50,000 mark if that happens. We've obviously seen the cross on the 20-day and 50-day moving averages here, the red crossing the green, and that's obviously helped propel this slingshot up in the past couple 24, 48 hours or so. So good things are obviously happening here in Bitcoin. Same thing in Ethereum. Ethereum is at 3,358.59 right now. And it followed pretty much the trend of Bitcoin, screamed way up higher and continued to go up higher as well, while the RSI has continued to drop down, which is good as well. We're going to have a lot more room to obviously run on this. So this is all great news. We'll see how this plays out going forward into the week. But we got to be careful that we don't get our rug pulled a little bit. We may come back down and test things going forward. I wouldn't be surprised if we come, right now the crucial point is going to be maintaining the support at 47,000. If we can do that, I think we can go up. But if we breach this, we may be coming back down to a lower level before we start going back up higher. So that's always a possibility as well. All right, so let's get into the first story here, and the only story we really have, and then we'll get into Luxxfolio. So Grayscale threatens legal action if SEC rejects Bitcoin ETF conversion bid. So the world's largest digital currency asset manager first filed to convert its flagship trust into a spot ETF almost a year ago. So here Grayscale CEO Michael, I'm going to try and pronounce his name, Sonnenschein, said that the issuer is not ruling out any options when it comes to converting GBTC. The SEC has been denying Bitcoin spot ETF applications for years, but Grayscale is confident approval will come eventually. So Grayscale is now ruling out seeking legal action against the Securities and Exchange Commission if the agency continues to prohibit the launch of spot cryptocurrencies ETF. CEO Michael said, I think all options are on the table. Michael said during an interview with Bloomberg Monday when asked if Grayscale would consider an Administrative Procedure Act lawsuit if their application to convert the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust GBTC into an ETF is denied. So they're obviously pursuing it quite heavily. So the Grayscale team has been putting the full resources of our firm behind converting GBTC, our flagship fund, into an ETF. Michael said it's really important that investors know that we have and will continue to advocate for them. The SEC is currently seeking public comment on whether to approve a Bitcoin spot ETF. The regulator has given issuers, investors, and other interested parties 240 days to submit input. The period closes in early July. So we got a little time, but obviously, if you want to get this approved, the more comments that the SEC that are positive for this, I think is going to also help. So Grayscale has been encouraging investors to submit comments, even creating an education page on email from its website, so you can check out their website for this. This is really important part of the process, Michael said. GBTC today is owned by investors in all 50 states, and there's actually now over 800,000 accounts in the U.S., all waiting patiently to have it converted into an ETF. And down here, ultimately, we believe it's a matter of when, not a matter of if a spot Bitcoin ETF is approved, he said, and I agree with that. Obviously, the more comments that we have from the public, I think in the long run is actually good. So if you're an investor in GBTC, post a comment in favor of this. I think this is something that everybody's looking to get, is a true spot Bitcoin ETF. So we'll see what happens with this in July, whether or not this gets approved or if it gets kicked down the road. Like we've seen some of the other ones get kicked down the road and then eventually get denied. So we'll see. Fingers crossed that it gets confirmed. All right. So next, let's take a look at Luxxfolio. So I spent a couple hours over the weekend going over them, some of their press releases, their SEC filings, just to figure out what they actually have, what they're mining, how much of the mining equipment they have. And this is Luxxfolio's website. So Luxxfolio, a leading digital infrastructure provider for Bitcoin mining and data hosting operations. Luxxfolio is an integrated digital infrastructure company that monetizes unique identifiable assets. We are backed by global credit fund that provide debt financing to global crypto mining industry. We provide a liquid alternative for exposure to digital assets for the broader capital markets. So we got investor information. We're going to take a look at their operations right now, but I'm not going to go over too detailed, so you guys can take a look at it at your own time. But right now, I don't know when this was provided. The information, it's not stated here as far as update time. But right now, they're saying they got 3,564 miners, 1,000, I guess, total miners, and then operational is 1,454 miners. Yeah, currently running 1,454 Bitcoin miners with an additional 2,110 miners scheduled for delivery and installation by July 2022. So they are obviously one of the smaller miners out there that I'm currently covering. I think they're the smallest right now. They are at 425 petahash rate, future hash rate, currently at 139 petahash. We'll take a look at what I have for them. Currently, the New Mexico facility has 139 petahash hash rate. The company is expected to increase 179 to 367 petahash mid-2022. And then they obviously have a 15 megawatt of power, currently using 8 megawatts right now. Currently, the New Mexico facility is wired for 8 megawatts. With the current expansion, will add another 7 megawatts of power. Additional power will increase capacity by 5x at the end of 2022. And I haven't found a lot of information on this. Filecoin, so Luxxfolio is building on its core capabilities in industrial data center management to procure, install, and operate customized storage server equipment connected to the Filecoin network. The first set of Filecoin storage servers have been received, and a full node has been installed and connected to the Filecoin network, allowing Luxxfolio to begin earning block rewards on its native digital token called FIL. And this was released in January 31. So we haven't gotten too much information as far as what they're mining, or basically block rewards are for that, how much they're earning from that. All right. So that kind of gives you a gist on Luxxfolio, what they do. They are obviously small. So this is for the latest release that they provided back in the beginning of March. So this is from March 3rd. This is their mining overview as at or for the month of February 2022. So Bitcoin mining site operating at 139 petahash. So that is actually what they showed on the other site page. Total Bitcoin mined of 19.7. This is in January. 22.01 Bitcoin. In January. Okay, so February was 19.7, so they're a little bit lower in February than they were in January, which is to be expected because February has less days in it. Bitcoin equivalent reserves at the end of the month of 85.3. The first phase of expansion of the New Mexico mining operation is expected to be completed this month and will add an additional 2 megawatts of capacity. Okay, so that's good. The final completion of the expansion is scheduled to be finished by the end of April, which will take a total capacity of 50 megawatts. Miner shipments continue on schedule, and capacity will be available to deploy miners when received. So we know all this. They are getting some, obviously, Bitmain S19J Pro miners, and we'll take a look at that right now as far as what I have for them. The other thing that's kind of interesting for them is their quarterly, when their quarters end, it's kind of not like on September ending and December ending, it's actually like November ending. So it's a little weird. So I have to do some little updates to my spreadsheet in order for it all to work out. So I'm going to go over this right now. Okay. So here's what we got for them that they have. So total miners are these here, and that gives us a total of 3,590 miners. They look like they're all pretty much the 100 terahash miners, except for the first ones that they got back in January 28th of 2021, which was a little bit over a year ago. And then they didn't provide which ones they had, but they did provide that they had 53.1 exahash, 590 of those miners. So that gave me a basic speed of about 90 terahash on those. Then they reported in May of 2021 that they were purchasing, what was that, 2,400 miners of the S19J Pros. Those are the 100 terahash miners. Then on August 4th, they reported that they got another 100. And on October 24th, they're getting another 500 of those. Plus, they bought out another mining company. I forgot to write this down, but they bought out a company that was mining Ethereum. They had 136 rigs, basically. Each rig had, I believe it was 8 graphics cards installed on them. For a total, they were on average mining about 220 mega hashes per second on those. So they gave me 29,920 mega hashes, basically what they're mining per day, roughly. And that's how I got the pricing here on these was $1,400 roughly in January. These numbers aren't 100% accurate, but they're just rough estimates based on what the price and earnings were for today, which was like $1,500. And I took it down basically each month, $50 because price was down. Now we're climbing back up a little bit. So for January, I got them at $1,400 per day. In February, they're at $1,450. And then in March, they're at $1,500 per day for a total of $46,500 basically for the month. And these are the ones that I have currently installed here, are these miners here. So they are at right now at 139 petahash, which is what they reported, which is what we have right now. And then we'll wait to see what they actually provide for March. And I looked back in January and they were at the same point. So they didn't get much, any more miners getting installed here. So that's why these are the same here. March is going to change, obviously. As far as revenue is concerned, I was able to get revenue for them going back. This would be here. So quarters are, let me see here. Yeah, September, October, November are quarters. June, July, August, March, April, May, December, January, February are the quarters. So this is for their quarter going back to, I believe, if I'm not mistaken here, June, July, August, where I got this number. This is for their March, April, May quarter, which they were just starting operations here. Got some more miners installed here. And then the December part is going to be part of December, January, and February totals. So I'm kind of estimating on what they made based on what they provided here as far as their Bitcoin mining report that they provided for December. So they mined 20.5 Bitcoins in December. At the value at that time where Bitcoin ended up was $40-some thousand. So that came out to be about 947,000. So I'm using that right there. Bitcoin obviously continued to go down in January, so that's why they're a little bit lower. And then it went down even more in September, plus you got less days, so they're a little bit lower there. So it'll be a combination of December, January, and February in these numbers here, the combined total, which is going to be the 6,726 possibly. Oh, that's combined, sorry. The current quarter is this one, which we're using January, February, and then December numbers down here. So we'll see what they actually get for February. Well, we know already what they got pretty much for February, which was around, they reported about 850. I got them pretty close to that right now based on what they have. So we'll have to see how those numbers play out. Future hash rate is obviously 353 petahash. They're at 139 right now. So they're about 40% operational installed. Number of miners is going to be right now is 1,450 running. Average hash rate is 95, which is pretty good terahash for them. They obviously hodl also 85.3. So value on that is about 4,000. Market cap, hodl to market cap is about 20%, and one share has about 6 cents of Bitcoin hodl in it. What else can I tell you guys about them? Obviously, they're very new, like I said. They just started this year. They're growing. They don't have much reported as far as what they're going to be expanding or growing or anything like that. So this does make them one of the smallest miners that I cover. So be wary of that a little bit. We don't know how much they're going to grow. They haven't reported much. But looking at the price of where it's at right now at 31 cents and market cap of basically 21 million, shares out is about 68 million, and that's basically taking the market cap, dividing it by the price, and having how many shares are out, more or less. We can get to that number there. And based on the numbers that I have for them, they're basically right now at trading at a price to earnings multiple of about 4 on them at 30 cents. I got them at 31 cents. If we use the 10 price to earnings multiple, they're not going to be growing that much. They should be closer to 74 on the 75% net income from gross revenue with a price to earnings multiple of 10 based on the last 3 quarters. And then this quarter, obviously, that's what it gets us to. They could be at basically at 6.7 million for the year roughly. So we'll obviously see how that plays out going forward when they get more miners installed. But right now, I mean, even at 5, they don't have much growth. So that's the only problem with them is not a lot of growth, which doesn't translate to a higher PE to PE ratio, right? The higher the growth is, usually we see companies getting up to like 20, 15, 10 price to earnings multiple ratio. Whereas these guys are pretty small. They're not growing that much. They're not getting that same treatment from the investors, obviously. So they're kind of priced fairly right now by what I'm seeing. Unless they start reporting they're going to be getting a lot more miners, where the future growth is going to happen for them. But they're still under 1 exahash. And the big concern is obviously they have to grow faster than the Bitcoin network hash rate grows. If Bitcoin hash rate grows by 5% a month, these guys have to grow at least that much or more to basically earn the same amount, or Bitcoin has to go, to the moon for them to make a lot more. So that's all. It's always dependent on Bitcoin and Bitcoin network hash rate. All right. So let me know what you guys thought of this. But yeah, right now it looks like they're pretty well valued, maybe a little bit undervalued, but not by much. And depending on the price to earnings multiple that you use. So that's it. Just for giggles here, why don't we just go, we're using 20 for others. If we're using 20 for others, we might as well use it for 20 for them. So then price to earnings multiple of 20, we'd be at $1.48 roughly for them. So that would be undervalued, but the growth is just not there. I think going with somewhere between 5 and 10 is pretty fair for them. So 37, they're at 31 right now for 5, and then at 10, they'd be at 74. So they do have a little bit of room to grow. But obviously, like I said, they got to get more miners installed. They got to get purchasing of those miners, infrastructure in place, everything else in place. Otherwise, they are going to stay pretty small. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below. Like I said, Bitfarms and Digihost numbers or videos going to be coming out next. Hopefully, I'll get that out tonight still. I want to get this one out to you guys, and then we'll do the other one. But if you enjoyed the video, found it useful, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. And as always, the spreadsheet is available to my Patreon members. You can find it there. You can support me there as well. So thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, bye.